Hi everybody, my name is Peter, and I'm going to show you guys how I like to solo Zulrah, the new boss that was released a couple of days ago. Just two quick disclaimers, this isn't going to be a guide on how to get like NASCAR speed kills. My record is 1 minute 39 seconds, which is pretty good, but I don't bring Dark Bow, I don't bring Vengeance, I don't bother with that stuff. I'm only 98 range right now. So it's not going to be a super fast killing guide, but it is a very consistent one. And number two, it's going to be an extremely long guide. My kill count is 310 right now, and that's what 4 or 5 days after the release. So I've been at it quite a while. So I've picked up a couple of little tidbits that I think can help you guys out. So it's going to be a very long guide. The current format I'm planning is this intro followed by my gear setup. I'm not actually bringing a Ring of Wealth. Gear and inventory, and then I'm going to show you guys the two patterns, because while a lot of people seem to think it is completely random, there are actually only two different patterns that Zulrah will spawn in, and they're given away very early, so you can predict it pretty well. And then I'm going to show you me actually killing Zulrah, which will be slowed down at certain parts or paused to point certain things out, because it is pretty in-depth. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a very long guide, and especially if I keep rambling like this. And then I will go over the drops, and I don't know, I'll probably throw some other stuff in there at some point as I make this, because I'm kind of just starting off with this part, which probably not the best idea, but that's alright. Anyways, on to the inventory. Alright, so onto the gear and inventory setup. If you have Void, I would strongly suggest bringing it. Your defense is only important against one of the forms, so that's why you can afford to wear Void without getting absolutely wrecked. If you don't have Void, I would strongly suggest getting it, but if you're too lazy to do that, use use Armadillo, Black D'hide, or Karils. If you're using Karils, keep in mind you can use an Amulet of the Damned and a Karils crossbow, which will let you get the bonus set effect, which is a 1 in 4 chance to inflict 50% more damage, which is apparently good at Zulrah. I haven't tried it because Amulet of the Damned was up to like 1 mil whenever I tried to test it, and basically it was just people buying, and I didn't feel like doing Shades of Morton, so apparently it's good, or else people wouldn't be buying the amulet, but I cannot personally vouch for that. I did try using Arma for a couple kills, and then decided to just go get Void, because all I was missing was the Ranger helm, so definitely worth it in my opinion, but if you hate pest control with a passion, or you're not 100 plus to get on the veteran boat, it might be too slow, but if you're doing Zulrah, you're probably 100 plus anyways. Amulet, I mean, Fury, if not Fury, then Glory, etc. Pretty much everybody knows what the order of amulets is. I bring a Fire Cape for the defense. Like I said, it's only good against one of the forms, but it's still good, obviously. And you can't bring an Ava's. The only problem is, if you die with an Ava's, usually it drops 75 steel arrows. If you die with an Ava's at Zulrah, you don't get the arrows back, which can be a bit annoying, because you need those 75 arrows to remake the upgraded Ava's. I think it's Ava's Accumulator. And also, it doesn't let you retrieve your bolts anyways. It is currently being pulled to allow Ava's to retrieve bolts from places that you can't go. If that passes, then Ava's will work at Zulrah, which will let you save a lot on bolts, which will be very good, because you go through bolts very quickly at Zulrah, because obviously you can't pick them up. So in the future, you may want to consider bringing in Ava's, perhaps as a switch, because, like I said, you only need the defense against one of the forms, and then you can throw in the Avas against the other two. But that's up to personal preference. You do need to keep in mind that you will lose the Avas if you die, unlike the Fire Cape. For weapon, I bring ACB and Odium. Alternatives would be Rune Crossbow, Crystal Bow, Karils, as I mentioned before, and also the Blow Dart gun. I got the Tanzanite Fang as a drop and wound up selling it for like 14 mil, which is good because it's down to 10 now. I didn't bother testing it because at the time dart prices were ridiculous, and it was too expensive to even bother using. I mean, I know that bolt prices are ridiculous as well, but the time that it takes you to kill Zulrah is comparable. And basically, one rune dart costs as much as a ruby bolt. Two rune darts would be about as much as a ruby bolt and a diamond bolt, and which means that like your average cost per shot is about the same. But you need to keep in mind that blow dart gun fires more than twice as fast as an ACB on rapid. I believe blow dart gun is at 1.2 ticks and ACB is 3. So basically, you're spending your money. You're using your money a lot quicker. So it just wasn't worth it for me. Boots, if you have ranger boots, go ahead and take them. I'm not going to invest 10 mil for an extra 2 range accuracy. So I just bring snakeskin boots. If you don't have snakeskin boots, just go kill Zulrah a couple of times. You get a lot of snakeskin. I've just literally been giving this away. If you need snakeskin boots, send me a PM. I'll give you some snakeskin. I did make quite a few into boots, and my friend made a bunch into boots when I gave her a bunch of snakeskin she didn't want. And you need a ring of recoil. If you want, you can bring an archer's ring as a switch, because you don't always need a recoil, but there are times where you absolutely do. Which means that you can put on the archer's ring when you don't need the recoil and swap it on when you do. However, I was forgetting a couple of times to put the recoil back on, which results in taking a lot of damage from the little snakes, which I will talk about in a minute. So just to avoid screwing up, I only bring a ring of recoil. And, I mean, Archer's Ring is only +4 accuracy. If the only Archer's Ring you have is imbued, I suggest strongly against bringing it. The increased speed of your kill will be negligible, and if you die, which sometimes is just inevitable at Zulrah, you'll have to re-get the imbue, which is kind of annoying if you don't have a lot of Nightmare Zone points. For your inventory, you're going to want these teleports. Again, I have too many of these. If you need some, send me a PM, I'll hook you up, because they're not worth that much. They're like 1k each. On release day, they were about 10k each, so I sold about 200 on release day. Now they're down to like 1 or 2k, so I'll give them to you for free. I'm never going to go through this many, especially considering he drops them pretty frequently. Like, I've never bought any, but I got one drop, and then like before your drop wears off, you just keep getting them, so it's quite the pile. I use a Ring of Dueling to teleport back to Clan Wars when I'm done, which, as you can see from all these Void Rangers, pretty much everybody does. I bring a Ranging Potion for obvious reasons. Most of the time you're going to be ranging it, so it helps a lot. My Bolt Switch, because Ruby Bolts deal a percentage of their current health in exchange for a percentage of yours. If you use that when they're above 250 health, your bolts can hit up to 50, which is a lot. Below that, you might as well use diamonds, because the spec can hit about that high as well, but it also goes through their armor, which means you have a higher chance of hitting, which is good. I bring one brew. I pre-brew before I go in for the extra health and defense, and I also have it as a panic eat if I have to. For those of you who don't know, you can eat a shark and then drink from your brew 1 tick afterwards, which is a lot faster than eating 2 sharks. Super Restore, obviously you need it if you bring brews, because they will lower your range and also your magic. Anti-Venom Plus, I cannot stress how important this is. Regular Anti-Venom is probably not even worth bringing, because you get poisoned extremely frequently. You'll notice that I will get hit with Venom, even though I'll take all zeros. Well, probably in the kill that I'll get, that I'll show you guys, I will be hit with all zeros. Still get hit with the Venom, and it happens very quickly, which means that even if you cleanse that, you'll get re-venomed very quickly. So honestly, I don't really think it's worth bringing regular Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom Plus is similar to Super Anti-Poison, where it will both remove the venom and prevent further venoming for a couple of minutes. I think it's roughly 3.5 to 4 minutes. I'm not 100% sure, but it will usually last you the whole kill. And if it doesn't, Zulrah will be almost dead by the time you get re-venomed, so you don't really need to use 2 doses ever unless you are having a catastrophic trip. And a prayer potion, just so I don't have to waste super restore doses, because prayer potions are a little bit cheaper. I bring a 9-way mage switch. If you don't have a 9-way mage switch, that's an awful switch. That's perfectly fine. I haven't done a kill since I got back to my room, so my switching was pretty terrible there. But anyways, oh, forgetting my weapon. That's kind of important. You get 124 mage accuracy, which is pretty good, but I still only hit about maybe 70% of the time, I'd say. Sometimes you'll hit a bunch of, like, you'll hit all 4 attacks. Sometimes you'll hit none of them. I say 4 because whenever you hit the melee form, you can only get off 4 attacks before it switches, but again, I will talk about that when I'm doing my kill. For those of you who don't know, this is the Trident of the Swamp, which you get from adding the Magic Fang drop from Zulrah onto your Trident of the Seas. Its benefit is plus 10 accuracy and a chance to inflict venom. The Venom is useless against Zulrah because he is immune to it. However, the +10 accuracy obviously does help. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's the switch. Hopefully, I'll be better at that when I do my kill. I bring a spare ring of recoil just because the way that recoils work is it's a counter saved on your character, which means that even if I switch these rings of recoil out, or I drop them both and take out another one, it'll still say 24. Which means that say your recoil's at like 10 left, that's not going to be enough for a full kill. But the only way to get it back up to 40 would be like going into clan wars and having somebody hit you till it breaks. But rather than do that, I just bring a spare one because 10 sharks is more than enough for a kill. If this isn't enough food for you, I would suggest foregoing the mage switch before bringing more brews. The problem with bringing brews is when you drink a brew, that means you need to drink a restore and also a ranging potion, which results in a lot of clicks, which can get you distracted and lead to you taking even more damage. So if 10 sharks isn't enough, you can ditch the mage switch, bring another 9. If that's still not enough, then you can try swapping out a couple for brews. But you want to try to do it with mostly just using your sharks because it's a lot cheaper and obviously a lot less clicking. But like one dose of brew is like 2k, and then you got to use a dose of super restore, which is like 2.5. Then a dose of ranging potion, which is like 500. Maybe I haven't bought ranging potions in ages, so I'm not really sure. But you want to try to just use sharks. Uh, and I think that's pretty much it for the inventory. I'm probably forgetting something, but that's okay. I will mention it a later time if I remember. Alright, so one thing I forgot to mention, I was going to mention Zulrah has 3 different forms. The green form is the range form, which will primarily attack you with range attacks and throwing out gas clouds and snakelings. It does also use a magic attack, but that's only during one phase that I will cover during the spawns. The red form is the melee form, which you will not hit on very often with your range attack, but it will take quite a bit of damage from magic, and also you can dodge all of its attacks, so it's not too much of an issue. And the blue form is the major form, which will primarily use a magic attack, but it can also use a range attack. There's no way to preemptively tell which attack it's going to use, which means that you can't flick to prevent all of its damage, so this form will almost certainly deal more damage to you than the other 2 forms unless you make a couple mistakes. It can also use gas clouds and throw its snakelings. The only real difference between it and the green form is you'll hit on it a lot more often because of the combat triangle. It's got a lot lower range defense. However, it will also hit on you a lot more often because, as I mentioned, it does have unpredictable and unpreventable damage with a max hit of 41, so that can cause you some trouble. I'll go over when and how they use their different attacks when I go over the spawns, but I just wanted to throw this in ahead of time just to give you guys a brief overview of the 3 different forms. Alright, so now I'm going to go into Zulrah's lair, and I'm not going to try to kill it, I'm just going to show you guys the pattern of the spawns. So it spawns in the middle at the start, always. It's always going to spawn here, and it's going to shoot these little gas clouds around the edge. But if you stand here, here, or right there, you're perfectly safe. It'll then spawn, or come up as this melee form. You just run over here, and you'll see that it will look at you, and then swing its tail, so that's why you have to dodge it. It'll then turn into this form, which just throws fireballs and range attacks at you. Oof, getting comboed pretty hard. Oh, I forgot anti-venom. Awkward. And then this is the only part that's random. It'll either spawn here or here, but I'll go over the pattern it spawns there after, because obviously it's spawning here right now. So it spawns here, and it will first attack you, and then you put range attacks you 5 times, and then it starts spawning more gas clouds and spawning more snakelings. It'll then spawn in its melee form right here. And if you stand right here, you're out of range of both the gas clouds and his melee attack. If you want to attack him, you could, but as I said, I'm not going to try to kill him. He then spawns here in his mage form. You can attack him 3 times on accurate here, 3 times on rapid as well, but you might as well use accurate. And then he spawns in his range form here, and he'll throw some more gas clouds. Oh shoot, my recall didn't break. Okay. Then he spawns in his mage form again. And then this is the next part is the part where you are most likely to die. Because if you screw up, you'll die. So he spawns and he attacks with range, and he attacks with mage, and he attacks with range, and it switches back and forth 10 times. Holy crap, that poison's really hitting. So then after his 10th attack, you want to run over here, and he'll start throwing some more gas clouds. And then he spawns in his melee form, and similar to the first time he's in his melee form, you just run over here, and then run back. And then he spawns in his range form, and this is pretty much the last form, because he'll attack you 5 times. And then after that, he does whatever that is, and then he resets. By resets, I mean now he's throwing out his gas clouds again, and then he will go into his melee form, and then he'll go into his blue form again, and then he'll spawn in one of the 2 locations. So it's about a 3-minute sequence, and that's the first sequence. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys the second spawn pattern. I hope I've gotten the same one 3 times in a row now, which isn't a whole lot of help. Which is why I'm missing some food, and I probably should have gone to Clan Wars and got rid of this poison. But anyways, so again, the first 3 spawns are always the same. It'll spawn in the middle here and throw out these gas clouds. You're immune to them here, right here, and over there, which I think I mentioned before, but just to anyone who might have missed that for whatever reason. The reason you do this side instead of that side is you can't dodge this form on this side of the taking damage with the poison. It'll then spawn in its blue form, attack you 4 times, and okay, good. It spawns over here. When it spawns over here, it doesn't do any damage to you. It just throws out some more gas clouds, followed by snakes. It'll die. It'd be a bummer. So I'm going to spawn in its major form again, right over there. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, disaster. So after it attacks you 5 times, I think it's 5, it'll start spawning more gas clouds and snakes. And then it will spawn in its melee form again. As I mentioned before, you're completely safe along this line from both his melee attack and clouds. So this is usually where you want to stand if you're on this side. So I'm going to spawn over here and range you a couple of times. You also have to watch out for these snakelings, because protect from range works on him, but not the snakes. Because some of them are melee, and I don't think it prayer works on it at all. Oh crap, I switch my prayers. And then it spawns in its major form over here again. You're going to want to run over here. You can attack him while you're running over here, obviously, and then stand right here. So then it spawns in this form, which, if you watched the last one, you'll probably recognize. Basically, it just alternates its attack styles. So as soon as you see one, you want to flip to the next one. He will do this 10 times, sorry. This is 9, and then on number 10, you're going to want to run over here, because he starts throwing poison. And the next form is the melee one, which is why you can stay on this side, and it will let you get a couple more attacks, like maybe 1 or 2. However, then when you try to dodge this form, you'll take a lot more damage from the poison clouds, which can hit 1s, but they can also hit 6s. So okay, I'm also at a prayer now, but then he goes into this melee form, as you just saw. He goes into his range form again and attacks you 5 times. And that is the reset point. So that is the second pattern. Alright, so this is a recording of me getting a kill. Right when you go in, you're going to want to turn on Eagle Eye and make sure that your crossbow is on accurate, because if it's on accurate or rapid, you still only get 4 attacks off, but with accurate, they're obviously more accurate and have a higher max hit. And after the 4th attack, you're going to want to throw on your mage switch as fast as possible and change your prayer to Mystic Might. If you don't have a mage switch, you can just range it. You'll get 3 or 4 attacks off depending on the speed of your weapon. But as you can see, you can attack in between dodging his attacks. Then you're going to want to quickly throw on your range prayer, your range switch. Turn on your quick prayers, which are protect from magic, steel skin, and eagle eye, and change your crossbow to rapid, and then spam click on them. That's because if you leave it on accurate, you only get 2 attacks, but as you can see, if you put it on rapid, you get a 3rd attack off right before he goes under the water, which is good if you're going for fast kills. You're then going to just pray range and come kill this form. If you don't know the spawn patterns, you probably shouldn't have skipped that part of the video, but it's pretty straightforward, and you'll get the hang of it as you kill Zulrah some more. This kill's going really quick, so I throw on my diamond bolts, and then right before he's about to go underwater, you'll see that I throw on my mage switch, and I eat a piece of food. If you're going to have to eat, which you almost certainly will, try to do it when you're doing your switches, or else just whenever he's about to switch forms, because then you don't lose out on time that you could spend attacking. And then I put my range switch back on, and this form you can only get 3 attacks off in accurate or rapid, so you might as well just leave it on accurate, which it's going to be on after you come back from using your trident, just because trident only has 2 attack styles, so it automatically puts your crossbow on accurate. But for this form, you're going to want to put it on rapid, because you can get plenty of attacks off, and luckily the attacks I get off are pretty decent hits, which is why this kill is so quick. And then right when it is about to go back into its blue form, which is the only form you really need your Protect from Mage and Steel Skin against, aside from the form right after this one. Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but anyways, you kill him just like that. And it's, I think it was 159 was the kill, which is pretty good. Alright, so on to the drops, and one important thing to note is on top of the scales, you do get 2 additional items from her actual drop table, which is very good. It makes it a very profitable boss. The scales that you get are used to make anti-venom pluses. You need 2 of them. They're also used to power the gear that you get from her rarer drops, which I will talk about when I get to them. The teleports were kind of nice because, like, on release day, they were 10k each because everybody wanted them. But the thing is, you get 50 of them at a time, and they're common, which means if you get one drop of 50, you'll probably get another 50 before you run out, and that will just keep on repeating. I've never bought any. I've sold about 400, and I'm currently at 1,300 teleports. And they're not worth very much. People are selling for 1k, but like not a lot of people are buying them because, as I mentioned, if you're doing Zulrah consistently, you're going to get them yourself anyways. So if anybody needs any, just PM me. I'd be happy to get rid of some. The scales, I already mentioned 1,000 of them. It's not a terrible drop. They're about 20 to 40, depending on how many people are trying to merge them at the time. But I just keep them because I'm not going to be doing Zulrah forever, but I will probably be using the items that I got from her forever, so I'm just going to stack up on the scales. Tanzanite Fang makes the overpowered blowgun, which I'm sure if you haven't been living under a rock, you've probably heard of. It did just recently get nerfed, which means that its price has been varying quite a bit. But last I checked, it was about 12 mil. Well, I got one and I sold it for 14, but that was pre-nerf. The Magic Fang, I've gotten 2 of these, and they've been hovering between like 3 and 5 mil. If you do get one, I would suggest using it on the Trident of the Seas as opposed to the Staff of the Dead, because the only additional cost when you use it on Trident of the Seas is instead of 10 coins per charge, you use one scale, and since the scales are only like 20 to 30 to 40 coins each, it's not a huge increase in price. It's like an extra 50k per full charge. But if you use it on the Staff of the Dead will degrade. You won't lose the Staff of the Dead, but when it runs out, you've got to use more scales on it, which basically just makes it a lot more expensive to use the Staff of the Dead. And the bonus on Trident of the Seas is also better. You get plus 10 accuracy and the chance to inflict venom, 1 in 4. And on Staff of the Dead, you get the same venom chance, but you only get plus 8 accuracy. I have both, and I use the Staff of the Dead DKs, but I've been using the Trident of the Swamp on Zulrah, and it's been working very well. Serpentine Visage turns into the Serpentine Helm, which is my new favorite item in the game because it gives you immunity to venom and also has a 1 in 4 chance to inflict your attackers with venom. I brought it to DKs. It's very good there because you don't need to bring any anti-poison. I usually have to bring like 3 antidotes for how long my trips last. But with Serpentine Visage, I just brought 19 prayer pots and had a trip that lasted over 3 hours. It also important to note if you like DKs is the DKs aren't immune to venom, which means that when they attack you, there's a chance they'll get hit for the venom. And if you use a similar method to the one that I use, that can wind up being a lot of bonus damage for doing nothing but standing there. Even if you're like protecting from mage and prime hits you, there's a chance it'll get poisoned, which is very good. Jar of Swamp is currently useless. I'm gonna guess it's 1 in 2k because that's what the other jars are. Yeah, none of these drops are actually confirmed, but I've gotten all of them, so except for these two. So I'll go ahead and assume that they're true. The actual rates will be released in a couple of weeks whenever John C releases them, but I didn't want to wait that long to make this guide, obviously. Regarding these drops, I got uh, 6 total drops in 157 kills. I got one of these, 2 of these, 1 of these, and 2 Onyx, which he has confirmed is the same rarity as these items. And then in my next about 180 kills, I got 0 of them, and then I got another Serpentine Visage. So I don't know what the drop rate is, but I'm obviously just got really lucky at the start and then had a really long dry streak. But I'm gonna guess it's 1 in 256. It might be 1 in 128. It might be 1 in 512. I highly doubt they're higher than that, and I doubt they're 1 in 512. So I'm gonna guess 1 in 256, but we will see when he confirms it. Oh, the pet snakeling. It looks really lame right now, but it's actually the coolest pet in the game because it's gonna be updated to be a mini version of Zulrah, which, similar to the Calphite Queen boss, will be able to cycle through its different forms, so you can pick your favorite one. If you want to see what that looks like, there's a picture of it on Mod Ghost's Twitter. I'm assuming it's going to be coming out this Thursday because I think they said they were going to update it the next week when they release this, but it could be a bit longer than that depending on how the work on it's going. Dragon Halberd might seem like a troll drop. I think it's really cool because Zulrah is located in the Regicide area, and you need Regicide Dynamite to wield a Dragon Halberd. And also, if you have Keramja Gloves from the Achievement Diaries, even if it's just Keramja Gloves 1, you can sell these for 180k to the Broomhaven General Store, which is obviously very good. I went and sold like 14 of these and got like 2 mil, which was pretty nice. Dragon Med Helm, on the other hand, is just a troll drop. When I first got it, I thought it was from the rare drop table, which would be really annoying because I've never gotten a Dragon Med Helm from the rare drop table. I've only gotten them off Zulrah and KVD. So that would be pretty troll. Then I got like 2 more, and I was like, oh, I guess it's part of the drops. And then they updated the wiki, and sure enough, it's not awful. It's like a 60k elk, but most of her drops are upwards of 60k, so it's not exactly a good drop. The rune drops aren't the most expensive drops, but I like them because I use all these runes. For example, law runes I use to enchant my Diamond Bolt Ease. Death runes, I don't know why it says to 450. It's always exactly 300. Death runes I use for TKs and also if I use my Trident, and same with Chaos runes, I use them for my Trident. Pure Essence, not that good, but I mean 1500 of them is like 45k if you sell them for 30 each, which is one of his worst drops, but I mean it's not it's worth picking up. It's not super terrible. Some super terrible drops include 35 snakeskin. Flax is okay. If you sell them for like 29 each, it's 29k, but I've got like 20k flax right now that I just haven't bothered selling. Snakeskin, snakeskin boots used to be worth quite a bit, and you can still make these into snakeskin boots. I prefer just not doing that because I have like 18 pairs of snakeskin boots. Because now that it's released to get snakeskin, the price obviously crashes, so it's not that great. Dragon Bolt tips, they were 3k each. Last I saw, the highest buy offer was 2.5, which would make this a 30k drop, which isn't super terrible, but compared to a lot of our other drops, it's pretty terrible. Magical Logs is a really good drop. If you sell them for 100 or 1.1k each, it's 110k. If you sell them for 1k each, it's 100k, and if you sold these for 100 or for 1k each, you'd sell them in about 30 seconds. Black D-Hide is about 2.6, 2.7k each last I checked, so that's about upwards of 50k, which is pretty nice. Coal is like 100, I think, which makes that a 30k drop. and Runate ore is about 11k, unless it's crashed some more from Zulrah. I'm not really sure. Like I checked a lot of these prices when I first sold my tab after like 80 kills, and then I got somebody that just buys all my stuff, and I just trust them with the prices, so I just throw out my stuff and they throw out money. Um, but yeah, like this is another 100k plus drop. Torsal seeds, oh man, these were like 30k, and they spiked up to 50, and then they crashed down to like 15. So make sure you check before you sell these. I don't expect them to go up anytime soon. The reason for that is Jagex knew that antidote or antivenom pluses were going to be basically necessary for Zulrah, so they knew that Torstals would be in very high demand. They compensated for this by making Torstal seeds and Torstals pretty common drops off Zulrah. I think they did that far too much because it tanked Torstal prices, but antidotes are still way up there. Like I bought 200 antidotes for 7k each and sold them for 22.5, which was a pretty huge profit. He does drop antidotes, but not nearly as often as the Torstals, which I think is a bit of a mistake on Jagex's part because now Torstals are like 5k each and antidotes are like 20. But whatever, that's their call. Dragon Bones for 1.7 each, it's a 51k drop. I mean, you can sell them for 1.7 pretty quick. I will buy them for 1.71 because I am currently at a 50 mil cash stack and I'm getting ready for 99 prayer. So it's not a bad drop. I'm just keeping them because I'm going to use them eventually anyways. Coconuts were 2k each, then they were down to 700, then they went up to 1k. A lot of these prices are still fluctuating because Zulrah is very new. You use them to protect magic trees, which is why they're so. Oh, I didn't. My bad. I didn't finish time with these. So magic seeds, they were about 150k, or they were 100, then they went up to 150, and now they're down to about 130. The reason they're popular is you need magic roots for antidote pluses, which you need for antivenoms, which you need for antivenom pluses. So they're in very high demand right now. You can sell them for 130k pretty quickly. Palm tree seeds are about 60k, I think. They went up to 75, and then they went down to 60. I'm assuming because Zulrah was crashing them, so be careful of that. Spirit seeds are unfortunately not tradable because I have way too many. You use them to plant spirit seeds at very high farming levels, and I wish you could trade them, but unfortunately that's not the case. Crystal seeds you use to make crystal gear, such as the crystal shield, the crystal bow, and the upcoming crystal halberd. Uh, they're about 100k each, but they're in very high supply related to demand now, because before the only way to get one that I can think of was doing roving elves. I don't think you could get a drop off anything else. But now that you can get them off Zulrah, it's a pretty common drop. Well, not common drop, but because of so many people killing Zulrah, there's a lot more of these available for sale now than there were before. So now back down to here, grapes. People buy for like 200 each sometimes. Like it'll range from like 150 to 400 each. So um, it's a very volatile drop. But I mean, if you can sell them for 200 each, it's a 50k drop, which isn't too bad. Battle staves are nice because this is one of the few drops that's basically static. Because if they go any lower, people will make too much money off alching, like turning them into battle staves and then alching them. So they're going to stay around 8 to 8.2k each, which is good. Antidote pluses were at about 18k last night when I sold them. If you're doing Zulrah consistently, though, I would suggest holding on to these, because you can get these, the Torsal drop, into scales and just give them to somebody with 94 plus Herblore to get your anti-venom. It might be, depending on prices at the time, better to sell them and then buy the anti-venom, but I just save them because it's a lot less of a hassle. When I'm low on anti-venom, I just save my antidote pluses and then get somebody to make me some more anti-venom. Raw sharks are 800 each. You can sell them very quickly if you go to the Rogue's Den, Popular World. And while you're there, you can usually buy some more cooked sharks if you need them for Zulrah. So I like selling them there because you know that they're not going to merchants, they're going to people that are actually going to cook them. And that's an 80k drop, which is pretty good. Mahogany planks are anywhere from 1.2 to 1.5 right now, which makes it a 60 to 75k drop, so that's definitely not bad. It's good because the thing I didn't like about construction before, and it's still kind of a problem that I have with construction, is there's no way to get around spending a ridiculous amount of money. Like, even with the plank make spell, you've got to spend coins to get planks. a lot of the stuff you get from Celdigrim you need to spend ridiculous amounts of money for, and there's nothing that like drops it or anything. So that kind of annoyed me. But now you can get mahogany planks pretty frequently, so that's pretty good. Torstals, as I mentioned, they were about 12k, I think was the highest I saw them, and I sold about 200 for that, but now they're down to about 5. So make sure you check your price before you sell it, but they're in extremely high supply now. Before, the only ways to get them were Sinister Keys and a couple like semi-boss monsters would drop them, so they weren't very common, but now they are far too common because Zulrah drops a lot, and there's a lot of Zulrah hype. Swamp Tar is just a joke. I'm at like 13k. I don't think anybody actually buys it. I've seen people buying for like 5 each or something, which is just not even worth the walk. So pick it up if you want. It's probably worth more than a shark if you sell them for 1 each, but one of his worst drops easily. Brews, if you sell them for 10k or 8k each, that's 80k, so you can't complain about that. I also like use brews, so I really like that drop. Addy bars are like 2k each, 2.3, which makes that a 57.5k drop, so that's good. You can also get somebody to turn those into Addy bolts for you, so you can get more bolts for Zulrah. Crystal keys, you get 2 guaranteed dragon stones, which if you turn into glories is like 110, 120k, so that's good. Elite clues are obviously very good. I got 3 in my first 100 kills, and then it took me another 220 kills for a 4th one. So I'm not really sure what the drop rate is, but I don't think it's too rare. And Onyx, which for some reason is considered very rare, but John C. confirmed that it is the same rarity as the other rare items that it drops, like the Tanzanite Fang, Serpentine Visage, and the Magic Fang. I've gotten 2 of these. I turned the first one into a Ring of Stone, and my friends were not very happy with me, but it's about 3 mil, unless you turn into a Ring of Stone. If you turn into a Fury, like if you know somebody that has the crafting / magic level to turn into a Fury for you, you can sell it for like 3.1 or so. I don't expect this to crash Furies, because it is a very rare drop, obviously, but people are concerned about that, so check your price before you try to sell it. And yeah, that's it. Zulrah doesn't have access to the rare drop table, which is good because it means you won't get any uncut sapphires. Just some uncut onyxes. Anyways, that concludes this guide. As I promised, it was extremely long. Unless I add anything in, this looks like it's going to be about 36 or 37 minutes. Took me quite a while to go through these drops because I went on a couple tangents. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching. I will try to throw up some more consistent content because I'm hopefully getting my new laptop back soon, which will let me record a lot easier and upload a lot easier and stream a lot easier. So we'll look forward to that. And thanks again for watching, guys.